If you have ever tried to mask a raw image inside Affinity's Develop Studio and hit a wall, you are not alone. Until now, it was basically impossible to do it properly. The old workflows forced you to use the brush tool to paint masks by hand. No precision, no intelligence, no real control. If you want to isolate a subject or target a specific tonal range, you had to leave Develop Studio entirely, commit to a destructive pixel edit, and lose all the flexibility of a raw file. But Affinity 3.2 just changed everything. This update brings powerful, non-destructive masking directly into the Develop Studio, the same environment where you process your raw files. We are talking object selection masks, luminosity masks, and hue masks, the kind of precision masking that Lightroom users have had for years, now built right into Affinity. In today's tutorial, I'll walk you through all three mask types, show you real-world use cases, and show you how to combine them into compound masks for even more precise control. Let's get into it. To begin, first of all, let us simply navigate below and open our Finder window here. And after opening the Finder window, I'll simply click and drag the objectmask.nef file, which is the raw file that I have already prepared beforehand inside of Affinity to open it. And as soon as I drag and drop it, you can see that Affinity automatically identifies it as a raw image and directly takes and open it inside of the develop persona right here. Now in the develop persona, if you look at the right hand side, you'll see that we have the new masks panel right here. And by default, it is selecting the master mask, which indicates everything here in this raw image. So let us go ahead and use the new masking feature starting with the object selection mask. So to add a new object selection mask, all we can do is simply navigate below and click on this add mask icon. After clicking on the add mask icon, you can see that we have several options here. I'll simply click on object selection mask. So after selecting the object selection mask, you can see that Affinity is processing right here, which is indicated by the black overlay in the canvas as well as the clock sign in the cursor. And now you can see that as soon as we hover over our subject, which is the yak here, you'll see that it has highlighted it with the pattern, which indicates that it is identifying or detecting that particular subject. So if we go ahead and simply click on the subject, then it will just go ahead and mask that particular subject out. So this is how quick and easy it is to mask in Affinity now. Now the next thing that we can do is just go to the basic panel and apply different exposure levels to our subject like so. So by the way, we can now identify or detect any objects in our raw images and simply select it by just single clicking on that object like so. And this just applies the mask and applies the exposure effect that we have recently applied here to our yak subject, to the wood as well. Now, let us go to our masks panel one more time. And the next thing that we can also do is simply hide the mask or the pixel mask that was recently created when we did the object selection mask. So in order to hide, we can just click on the visible icon right here, and this just hides the pixel mask that we have created with object selection. Or we can just go ahead and delete it by clicking on the trash can icon right here. Now, let us go ahead and look at our next example here for the Hue Range Mask. So I'll just go ahead and click on the develop button right here at the top in order to apply the changes if you have applied any changes on your raw images. Now, similar to before, I'll just go ahead and open the Finder window, and from within the Finder window, I'll just click and drag the huemask.nef file as well at or inside the Affinity UI like so. And now you can see that like before, it has taken us to the develop persona in Affinity once again, since it has identified this image as a raw image. Now, like before, you see that we have the masks panel. However, this time I'll be applying the hue range mask. So to apply the hue range mask, similar to before, let us click on this add mask icon and then select hue range mask. And right now you can see that a default mask has been applied to only these stone texture here in this image. So what we can do is click on the picker tool and just select any areas or objects that has hue in the image. So I'll just go ahead and click on this red jacket right here. And now you can see that as soon as I click on the red jacket, it has detected everything that has hue color red in the image, including other areas outside, which is indicated by the red overlay right here. Now we can narrow down our red hue selection by just clicking and dragging these points like so. And if you look inside of this image, now you can see that most of the red overlays that were available or present before has been gradually started to disappear, which indicates that it is not selecting that particular areas that were indicated by the red overlays. Now let us go ahead and click and drag the rest of the point or the opposite point as well to get rid of the hue selection from outside areas. So now we can just click and narrow the selection down like so. And now you can see that after narrowing the selection, it has mostly selected the red jacket of the subject with the selection of few of the tiny areas outside of this red jacket in this image, which is not a big of a deal. Now we can just go ahead and also adjust the blur radius as well, like so, in order to apply natural effects or adjustments inside of the developed persona to any areas of the image. Now I'll just go ahead and close this particular mask panel, and by selecting actively the hue range mask which we have recently created, I'll just click on the basic panel, and this time I'll just increase the exposure like so. And now you can see that it is applying the exposure only to the red jacket of the subject or the person here in this raw image. So this is how you can use the hue range mask in the develop persona in Affinity. Now I'll just go ahead and click on the develop button right here in order to develop this raw file. Now the next thing is, let us go ahead and check the new luminosity mask inside of the develop persona in Affinity. So for that, I'll just go ahead and click on the finder window one more time, and then simply click and drag the luminosity mask image like before at the top of the contextual menu bar in Affinity UI like so. Now as soon as I do that, you can see that this new image has been opened inside of the develop persona, which is normal in Affinity and should have happened. Now let us go ahead and simply click on the masks panel one more time. And after clicking on the mask panel, this time I'll just go ahead and click on this add mask icon and select something called luminosity range mask. Now you can see that in the luminosity range mask, it has basically masked out everything inside of this image. So if you look inside of this new mask panel right here, this allows us to adjust these graph nodes in order to instruct Affinity which part of the image that we must select in terms of the luminosity. So I'll just go ahead and click on this rightmost end node and just click and drag this node like so beneath. And after dragging it down, you can see that it has masked out all the elements beside the sky. However, there are certain subtle transparent masking in the sky as well. So we can just control it by adding a new node like so, and then click and drag the new node like so, and remove the mask out of the sky entirely. So now you can see that it has only masked out the areas such as the stupa and the mountains here below this image, and entirely opted out the sky portion from this image. So the next thing is we can also use other options like the invert output or the linear options that we have, which just makes this particular graph linear, that is just a straight line instead of making it a curve. So the next thing that we can do is also increase the blur radius in order to add the blur to the edges of this masked out portion of this image. Now let us go ahead and just close this mask panel after we are satisfied with this masking option that we have applied here. Now let us go to the basic panel one more time and then increase the exposure once again. And now you can see that it is increasing the exposure only to the masked selection in this image that we have added recently with the help of the luminosity mask. So let us go ahead and click on the mask panel one more time and then just get rid of the luminosity range mask entirely by clicking on the trash can icon. So the next power of these masking is the compound masking, where we can use different types of masking together by using this compounding feature. And if you want to learn more detail of this compound masking feature in Affinity, you can do so by watching the video that I have created before, which I'll place the link in the description as the top left corner in this video. Now let us go ahead and first of all add any basic masking option that we have here in order to create a new compound masking. So for that, I'll just click on this add mask icon one more time. And then like before, I'll just click on this option called luminosity range mask. Now, similar to before, I'll just click on this rightmost node once again and then click and drag like so in order to get rid of the masking out of the sky portion of this image. And I'll just add another node as well at the center of this linear line of this graph and then click and drag this node beneath like so once again. And I'll just increase the blur radius one more time by clicking and dragging like so to give the natural edges to the masking. Now, after we have applied this, let us go ahead and close this mask. And the next thing that we can do now is simply click on this particular icon called compound mask. And after clicking on this particular icon of compound mask, the next thing that we can do is we can just add any masks option that we like. So I'll just go ahead and click on object selection mask. And now you can see that as soon as I select the object selection mask, it has just processed the image first. And after processing the image, let's say we want to get rid of the mask from any one portion in this mask selection, which are the areas beneath this image. So for that, I'll just click on this particular icon in the pixel mask layer right here. And this simply allows me to select any one of the operation right here. Since I want to get rid of the mask selection here that is highlighted in the red in this image, I'll just click on subtract first, and this will enable me to opt any object out of this particular mask that we have created. So let's say if I want to get rid of any of the space or area here of this stupa, then I can just click on this particular highlighted area right here. And now you can see that this just opts that particular area out of the mask selection that we have just created. So this is the power of the compound mask. So if I just click on this next selected or identified area, then it just opts out that particular area from the mask selection that we have created recently by using the luminosity range mask. So this is the power of the compound mask. That is, we can use the operation tool that we have available here in this particular compound mask in order to merge and mingle with different kind of masks types and apply our adjustment layer inside of the develop persona. So let us go ahead and simply click on the basic panel one more time. And now if I go ahead and increase the exposure setting right here, you'll notice that the exposure has been applied to everything in this image except this portion that we have recently opted out from this mask selection. Now let us go ahead and just click on the develop button right here. And after clicking on the develop button, this just applies the adjustment that we have created with the new compound masks that we just applied, including the luminosity mask. And that's the full picture of raw masking in Affinity 3.2. Object selection for AI-powered subject isolation, luminosity mask for tonal targeting, perfect for high contrast landscape shots, and hue masks for color specific adjustments without touching the rest of your image. And when you combine all three as compound masks, you get a level of precision that was simply not possible in Affinity before this update. Which of these three mask types are you most excited to use? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this saved you time or taught you something new, hit that subscribe button. I post Affinity tutorials every week, covering everything from beginner workflows to advanced edits like this one. Coming up next, I'll show you how to use compound masking to recover blown out skies in raw files without ever touching the rest of your image. So make sure you don't miss that one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.